All right, so it looks like you're ready to really dig into retirement planning and not just like skim the surface, right? We're doing a deep dive today with some materials from Sapphire Retirement. They've got some really interesting angles on this whole, securing your financial future thing. And trust me, this isn't going to be like your grandma's retirement advice. We're thinking less counting pennies and more like building a strategic fortress of financial awesomeness.
Exactly. It's about crafting a plan,
Mhm.
like a real plan for long-term financial well-being.
Mm.
And recognizing that retirement, it isn't just this event on the calendar. It's a whole new chapter.
Yeah, and Sapphire Retirement seems to get that. I mean, their tagline is literally secure your future. And who doesn't want that, right? But it's not just about like maxing out your savings account. They offer this whole suite of services. We're talking health insurance, life insurance, even long-term care insurance. Plus they work with like individuals and businesses on employee benefits, 401k plans, all that jazz. I'm sensing a theme here.
What I think is really fascinating is how they're weaving all these different like financial threads together. Because for a lot of people, retirement planning kind of happens in a silo. But Sapphire Retirement is like, hey, hold up. Your health, your job, your protection against like unforeseen events, all of that, it's connected to how you'll actually live later on.
Yeah, that's where it gets really interesting because they even offer these like legal plans and identity theft plans. Those aren't exactly the first things that pop into my head when I think retirement. Is this like a growing trend, this whole weaving in those kind of services?
It absolutely is.
Hmm.
I think people are realizing that true financial security, it has all these layers. You're not just protecting your money, you're protecting yourself. Think about it. Legal battles, identity theft, those can wipe out your savings faster than you can say pension.
Hmm.
So by addressing these potential like vulnerabilities, Sapphire Retirement is helping you build a way more resilient financial foundation. For the long haul.
So it's like a holistic approach, right? Like creating this financial safety net that extends beyond just like the numbers in your retirement account. Okay, but let's talk about making that money last, which seems to be at the heart of their whole philosophy. They really emphasize these things called indexed annuities. For those of us who aren't like financial wizards, can you break those down?
Yeah, so index annuities are designed to provide a steady income stream during retirement.
Yeah.
One of their biggest selling points, especially for those nearing retirement or those who maybe are a little more risk averse, is protection from market volatility. I mean, we've all seen how quickly a market downturn can just like erode savings. And indexed annuities aim to offer a degree of certainty that traditional investments just might lack.
So it's like a buffer, right, against those crazy market swings. But doesn't that also mean you're sacrificing potential growth? I mean, if you're totally insulated from the market, wouldn't you miss out on those big gains everyone's always talking about?
That's actually a pretty common misconception. Indexed annuities DO offer potential for growth. They're linked to the performance of specific market indexes, so it's not like your money's just sitting there doing nothing. However, it's important to note that while you do participate in market upswings, your gains are usually capped. So this limits the upside potential, yeah. But it also provides that crucial downside protection.
Okay, so it's about finding that balance, right, between growth and security, which totally makes sense as you're approaching retirement. But I'm curious, what are some red flags that Sapphire Retirement wants us to watch out for when we're like evaluating our current retirement plans? They have this whole section on their website about portfolio assessment. That seems pretty key.
Yeah, they do. And it really comes down to asking yourself the tough questions, because a lot of people, they approach retirement planning with this set it and forget it kind of mentality. Yeah. But Sapphire Retirement, they want you to be way more active, way more informed.
Okay, so let's get into those tough questions. One they have is like straight up, how much am I okay losing in the market? And then they give you these options. All, some, or none. Seems pretty basic, but I bet a lot of people haven't actually like thought that through.
It's more profound than it might seem at first. It's really about aligning your investments with how much risk you can actually stomach. Like, are you comfortable riding that roller coaster? The ups and downs of the market? Or do you want something a little smoother, a little more predictable?
Yeah, and imagine that changes as you get closer to retirement, right?
Exactly. Someone in their 20s, they've got a long time horizon. They might be more willing to embrace risk because they know, hey, if I lose some money now, I've got time to recover. But when you're nearing retirement, preserving your capital, that becomes way more important. And Sapphire Retirement really wants you to like step back and look at your portfolio and ask yourself, does this actually reflect where I'm at in life and what my priorities are?
Okay, their next question is kind of building on that. They ask, what percentage of my portfolio is actually at risk of loss? And what percentage is, like, safe? That sounds like they're getting at the whole diversification thing.
They are, 100%. Diversification, that's like the cornerstone of any good investment strategy, especially for retirement. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, right?
Yeah.
And Sapphire Retirement, they remind you to think about how your assets are spread out across different classes like stocks, bonds, real estate. The right mix, that's going to depend on, your risk tolerance and how long you have until retirement.
So it's not just about how much you saved. It's about how that money is working for you. Okay, this next one really jumped out at me. They ask, how much guaranteed income for life do I have? That seems to tie back to those indexed annuities we were talking about.
It totally does.
Yeah.
And this question, it highlights something really crucial. Social Security, for a lot of people, that's just not going to cut it. And relying only on market returns, that can be super risky, especially if you retire during a downturn. So Sapphire Retirement wants you to think about those sources of guaranteed income, things like pensions, annuities, even rental income. That can create a bedrock of stability for you in retirement.
It's like weaving a safety net into your whole financial plan.
Okay, here's another one that caught my eye. How does the loss of one of our Social Security payments impact us if one of us dies? That's not something a lot of couples actually think about.
It's a harsh reality, but it's definitely one worth addressing. Because often, when one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse, they only get the higher of their two Social Security benefits. And that can be a huge financial hit, especially if they were relying on both incomes. So Sapphire Retirement, they're urging couples to really factor this in. Make sure they have enough resources to maintain their lifestyle, even after a loss. So it's about planning for those contingencies and protecting your partner, right? Okay, they get a little bold with this next one. They ask, does my advisor ask me these questions? Why not?
It's definitely a statement, but it really underscores Sapphire Retirement's commitment to empowering people. They want you to be an active participant in your financial planning. It's not about them just selling you products. It's about you understanding, questioning, making sure your advisor is truly on your side.
So it's about finding an advisor who's not just pushing products, but actually listening to your needs and guiding you towards a plan that really aligns with, your values and your aspirations. Now, speaking of questions, let's circle back to those indexed annuities for a sec. Sapphire Retirement highlights some key benefits on their website that are worth, unpacking.
Yeah, for sure. They really break down why index annuities might be a good fit for some investors, especially those who are looking for a more conservative approach as they transition into retirement.
So first up, they mentioned principal protection. What exactly does that mean in the context of an indexed annuity?
It means that your initial investment, it's shielded from market losses. Unlike investing directly in the stock market where you could lose money if things go south, an indexed annuity guarantees that your principal will stay intact. And that can provide a huge sense of relief, especially as you get closer to retirement, when you can't really afford to see your savings disappear because the market's having a bad day.
So it's like building a financial fortress around your nest egg, protecting it from those market storms. But they also mention participating in market upswings without the downside risk. How does that work? It sounds almost too good to be true.
It's not magic, it's just the way the product is structured. So indexed annuities, they're linked to the performance of specific market indexes. But there's a cap and a floor on potential gains and losses. So if the market goes up, you participate in that growth, but only up to a certain limit. And if the market goes down, you're protected from those losses. It's like having a ceiling AD, a floor on your investment.
So you're basically mitigating risk while still tapping into some of that market upside. Makes sense. And they also emphasize that the money in an indexed annuity grows tax deferred.
Yeah.
That's got to be a pretty sweet perk, right?
Oh yeah, tax-deferred growth, that means you're not paying taxes on your earnings until you actually withdraw the money in retirement. This lets your money grow faster, compound more quickly, because you're not losing a chunk to taxes every year.
And who doesn't love a good tax break?
Especially when you're trying to maximize those retirement savings. Now, another big selling point they mention is guaranteed lifetime income. That's got to be pretty compelling, right, for anyone worried about outliving their savings.
Oh, absolutely. It's like having your own personal pension. With an index annuity, you can choose to receive regular income payments for the rest of your life, no matter how long you live. It takes away that fear of running out of money. Gives you that sense of security, that stability that's so important in retirement. It's like a financial safety net that's always there, no matter what happens. Okay, switching gears a bit. Sapphire Retirement also offers these legal plans, which seems a little, I don't know, unexpected. For a company that's so focused on retirement, what's the thinking there?
It's actually pretty smart when you think about it. Remember, we were talking about financial security having all these different layers. Well, legal issues, they can pop up at any time, and they can be expensive. So having access to like affordable legal services, that can make a huge difference in protecting your assets, both now and in retirement.
So it's like having a lawyer on speed dial, but without the crazy hourly rates.
Exactly. You pay a monthly fee, and you get access to this network of attorneys who can give you advice, represent you if you need it, whether it's reviewing contracts, dealing with landlord, even creating a will. Having that legal safety net can be invaluable.
So it's like they're anticipating those like unexpected bumps in the road and giving you a way to navigate them without, totally derailing your financial plans. Then there's the identity theft plans, another service that seems a bit, I don't know, out of place. We're talking about retirement.
I know, right? But identity theft, that's a huge concern for everyone these days, especially as we're all doing more and more online. And it can be financially devastating, like wipe out your savings, wreck your credit score. So Sapphire Retirement, they recognize this as a serious risk factor, something that could jeopardize your long-term financial well-being.
So it's about protecting your financial identity just as much as your physical assets.
Exactly. These plans, they usually offer a combo of monitoring services, alerts, and restoration assistance to help you catch and resolve any identity theft issues quickly. It's like a security system for your personal information.
It's like an insurance policy for your digital life. Okay, let's dive back into those key questions that Sapphire Retirement wants us to think about when we're evaluating our retirement plans. We've touched on a few, but there are some more that are worth exploring.
Yeah, these questions, they really get to the core of what it means to build a solid retirement strategy. They force you to confront your assumptions.
Yeah.
And make sure your plan is really in line with what you need and what you want.
They start with a simple one. Do I want my money safe? I mean, who doesn't want their money safe?
It seems obvious, but it's really about finding that balance between safety, A&D growth. You want to protect your principal, yeah, but you also want your money to keep up with inflation. It's about finding that sweet spot, and that can be different for everyone, depending on your risk tolerance and how long you have until retirement.
So it's not just about stuffing cash under your mattress. It's about finding investments that offer both security and potential for growth. They also ask, do I like the idea of guaranteed income for life? Again, seems like a no-brainer to me.
For a lot of people, it is, especially if you're looking for predictability and peace of mind in retirement. But it's not the right fit for everyone. Some people, they might prefer having more flexibility, more control over their investments, even if that means taking on more risk. It all depends on your personal preferences and circumstances.
So it's about choosing the path that feels right for you, whether that's the steady stream of guaranteed income or the potential for higher returns with more hands-on management. Okay, now they get into some nitty-gritty questions about budgeting and expenses. They ask, how much will our retirement monthly expenses actually be? And how much am I guaranteed monthly in retirement?
Those are great questions because they really highlight the importance of having a realistic budget and understanding where your income is going to come from in retirement. It's easy to just focus on your savings balance. But retirement, it's really about cash flow. How much do you need every month to cover your bills? And where is that money coming from?
So it's not just about the big lump sum. It's about the monthly income that money will generate. And they don't shy away from the tough stuff. They even ask, is long-term care included? That's a conversation a lot of people avoid.
It is, but it's a crucial one. Long-term care, that can be insanely expensive. And it's usually not covered by traditional health insurance or Medicare. So Sapphire Retirement, they want you to think about how you're going to handle that potential need. Whether it's through long-term care insurance, annuities with long-term care riders, or just setting aside money specifically for that purpose.
So it's another layer of planning, right? Another way to make sure you're prepared for whatever life throws your way. And finally, they ask, have I included indexed annuities when diversifying? That ties back to their core message, right?
100%. They're not saying indexed annuities is the only index annuity solution, but they want you to at least consider them as part of your diversified portfolio. They offer that unique combination of principal protection, growth potential, and guaranteed income that can really complement your other investments.
So it's about looking at all the options, exploring different tools, and building a portfolio that really aligns with, your risk tolerance, your time horizon, your overall goals. It's about taking a holistic approach to retirement planning. And that seems to be the big message Sapphire Retirement is trying to get across. It really feels like they're saying, hey, retirement isn't just about like hitting this magic number in your bank account. It's about having a plan, a plan that addresses like all the pieces of the puzzle, your income, your health, those potential risks, and yeah, your peace of mind.
I think they've really got a good grasp on what today's retirees and those planning for retirement are actually dealing with. It's not just about accumulating wealth. It's about making sure that wealth turns into like a secure and fulfilling lifestyle.
Okay, before we wrap up this deep dive, there's one more product from Sapphire Retirement that we need to unpack. These indexed universal life policies, or IULs, they seem to be getting pretty popular as part of a retirement strategy. What makes them different from like the traditional life insurance you might already have?
So IULs are interesting because they offer a kind of unique twist on the classic life insurance model. They still have that death benefit, to protect your loved ones, but they also have this cash value component that can grow over time, and that can potentially give you some living benefits as well.
So it's like a life insurance policy with a built-in savings account.
Yeah.
That can actually grow. How does that cash value component work? Is it tied to market performance, like those index annuities we were talking about?
Yep, you got it. Similar to indexed annuities, IULs link your cash value growth to how those specific market indexes perform, but without the risk of like directly investing in the market. So you can still benefit from market upswings, but your potential losses are limited if things go down.
That sounds pretty great. You get the security of a life insurance policy plus the potential for growth tied to the market. But what about those living benefits they talk about? How do those fit into the whole retirement picture?
That's where IULs can get really interesting, especially for retirement planning. A lot of policies let you access your cash value while you're still alive, either through withdrawals or loans. So this can give you more financial flexibility in retirement, especially if you run into unexpected expenses.
So it's like having a reserve fund that you can tap into if you need it, whether it's for like a home renovation, helping out family, or maybe covering those surprise healthcare costs that seem to pop up as we get older.
Exactly. And some IULs even have options for generating income in retirement, kind of like those indexed annuities we discussed. So it could be a really helpful addition to your retirement income plan, especially if you're worried about, outliving your savings.
Wow. IULs seem like a pretty versatile tool for retirement planning, but I'm guessing they're not the right fit for everyone, right? Are there any downsides or things to like watch out for?
That's a great question. I think it's important to remember that IULs, like any financial product, they've got their complexities. They often have higher fees compared to term life insurance. And that cash value growth, it's not guaranteed. It depends on how the index performs, and there are usually caps on those potential gains.
So it's super important to do your research, understand those fees, and have realistic expectations about how much growth you might see. Sounds like working with a knowledgeable financial advisor is key here, right?
Absolutely. A good advisor can help you figure out if an IUL is a good fit for your goals and your risk tolerance. They can explain all the details, help you choose the right index, and make sure you're making an informed decision.
Well, this has been a super insightful deep dive into Sapphire Retirement's take on securing your financial future. They've definitely pushed us to think beyond just saving money and consider this more holistic approach that includes our health, our insurance, and those potential risks we might face.
I agree. They've given us a really valuable roadmap for navigating this whole retirement planning thing. They're encouraging us to be proactive, informed, and empowered to make choices that really work for us.
So as we wrap up, I'm curious, what's one key takeaway you hope our listeners are walking away with today?
I'd say it's this. Retirement planning isn't one size fits all. It's about knowing your options, asking the right questions, and building a plan that truly reflects your needs and goals. And remember, it's never too early to start. The sooner you take control of your financial future, the more secure and fulfilling it's going to be.
That's great advice. It's about taking ownership of your financial well-being and not being afraid to seek guidance from, trusted professionals along the way. So for everyone listening, what's one thing you'll do differently to secure your financial future, knowing what you know now? Something to think about as we close out this episode. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.